everyone, I'm Jessica, and I usually talk about solo board games, but today I wanted to dive into a different sort of topic, adjacent, I promise. And that is about getting into solo RPGs through solo journaling RPGs. And when I say journal, don't run off, because these can take on a lot of different ways that you actually put it together. This does not mean you're writing a book. This does not mean that you are keeping a very detailed journal as you're going through. It is just a way of creating prompts without a lot of mechanics to allow you as a solo player to get into the story of a certain RPG. So I wanted to go through a couple of ones that really got me interested in this genre. I have a huge collection of board games, as you can see all over the place, but probably I have more solo RPGs or RPGs that I plan to play solo, which may be plan/hope, because there are a lot of different options out there, and not all of them have to do with fighting or combat. There's a lot of cool themes out there. And I found that starting off with solo journaling is actually a great way to kind of get into the genre without having to worry about how do I emulate a game master or dungeon master or GM or whatever, because as a solo player, there's a lot of things to keep in mind, but solo RPGs can be great. But let's take a look at some journaling RPGs. So the one that really got me started in this is actually 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, which is I have the really nice print book. It's awesome. It has like illustrations and it kind of looks like an old style book. This one, though, puts you in the shoes of a vampire, but it does a lot of interesting things. So first of all, you go back to your origin, because before you were a vampire, you were a human. We assume so in this book, and it is about a journey through up to 1,000 years. And what's significant about that is that when you play RPGs, time is usually measured in, we played... I've had sessions of RPGs go for hours, and we've played for like 30 minutes of in-game time. So those are measured usually in small time periods of like up to a week, maybe, or a couple of months. Getting into the years takes a lot. This, though, really does a great job of prompting you in order to actually advance your character through all these years. There's a whole system where you're going to keep track of things like traits and marks, characters in the world, and most importantly, memories. And it's a really cool thing here because you can actually lose memories as you go along. Think about our own lives. I don't remember things from 10, 20, 30 years ago. You don't remember those details. They kind of fade with time. And that is what happens with 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, which is really interesting to see how you can use a memory to sort of help you out with some of these prompts. But then over time, you may have forgotten, how did you become a vampire? Why am I connected to this character? I don't know. And it's just a really cool evolution of seeing a character and also seeing a vampire from the not-so-vampire side, I guess. Because this is, again, kind of taking a look at what you would be dealing with as a vampire who was transformed. And there's a whole, it goes through a whole sequence over the years. It's really cool because you can also set it within a time period that you want to research a little bit. So you can set it within a historical time period, bring in pieces that you research and kind of make it your own. And that's another thing with solo journaling RPGs. They are really there to create somewhat of a framework, but you are more than welcome to break rules. Most of these will say, if it works for you, just go with it. Just forget this rule, don't use this, do whatever. I don't find that there's a lot of rules with 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. That one is more just get into character, have some fun, see what happens. And I've played it only once, need to play it again, but I had a really interesting character who developed and who died a terrible death after a good 300 or 400 years. But it was a very interesting story along the way. The next one that really just grabbed me right away was Apothecaria, which is, I think the subtitle, I got a ton of extra postcards and other stuff in there. Surprises abound within this fairly small book. What is this? It's a solo potion making RPG. In Apothecaria, you are actually a witch, but a good witch, who is actually collecting reagents and creating potions and other things to help the townsfolk or adventurers who stop by who have strange ailments that pop up. There's a little bit of humor there and a lot of exploration. But what really got me, this completely drew me in literally from the first two sentences, which I am just going to read real quickly, just as the introduction to show you why this drew me in and made me want to jump into this world. If you're reading this, I'm probably missing or dead. Let's hope just missing. I wish I could be there to explain all this in person, but life takes unexpected paths. Hopefully this journal will be enough to guide you. Awesome introduction. I was like, yes, throw me into this immediately. And this is a very, this is a great book that has a lot of areas to explore, and you are drawing from a deck of cards in order to explore and sort of find what's out there and collect different reagents and ingredients, create these potions for villagers. It drew me in right away. And the really interesting thing about Apothecaria is that it is written in the sense that it's a journal that someone put together. There's a table of contents so you can locate everything, but it's a little bit disjointed, but I mean that in a positive sense. It does not feel mechanical. It does not feel like, do this, do this, do this. It's very much, it feels like that opening paragraph that someone put this together in the event that they went missing or died and some other witch had to take over what they were doing. But there's all different tools that you can pick up along the way. You can find a familiar, and that is actually what I had been diving into when I paused indefinitely. I'm terrible at continuing on. But just as an idea, I got so into this. I am no artist. But I actually, yes, this is what I started doing. I had a blast actually creating the different reagents and attempting to sketch them. I'm no artist, can you tell? But I had so much fun putting this together and actually starting to figure out what I was doing. My issue is that if you give me a page this size, I'm going to fill it. And that takes a lot of work. So I am excited to get back into that. I had my last, not victim, my last patient had something going on with metallic fingers, and I think he was like a blacksmith, so this was like really not working for him, and it was pretty dangerous. So I fixed that, and I came up with a potion for that. And it's just fun to kind of create this world a little bit, but then have some prompts that actually help you get into that. I have not tried it yet, so this is not quite a different entry, but there is the similar Apothecaria. That's correct. That is with a P-A-W. And what this is, it's built off of that system in Apothecaria, but you are playing as a woodland creature who is tending to everybody in the forest and in the region. I am super excited to try this one out as well. It is a slightly different system though, so that's great, and in a completely different setting, and it's another gorgeous book with all types of illustrations and ideas, and just, again, there's all ailments, and let's do that. The cool thing about Apothecaria is that it also comes with a map, which again, may or may not be used, break the rules, but look at this map. Look at that map. There are so many places to go. And it's just all about creating your own story and having a good time. Let's fold that back up correctly. But I hope it kind of shows like why I am so excited about these things. Journaling, you can just dive right in. And again, you don't have to write as much as I did. This is how I solved that because, again, I have problems filling in full pages. You put that in front of me, and I think I have to fill up that full page during a session. So how do you solve that? With another solo journaling RPG, Be Like a Crow. And in Be Like a Crow, That's exactly what you are. You are going to choose. There are a couple different species to choose from here. There's a jackdaw, carrion crow, magpie, all different types that have different abilities, and you are exploring the world around you and kind of growing up as you go. There's an optional map making system. I decided not to do that, but to kind of keep it very generic, although I have it in my head of, where certain things were. There's the bridge where I got to be careful of because there's a seagull hanging around there causing some problems. I don't need to go near there. There's the playground where there's always some food or some other stuff to find in town. And there's cool stuff like that. So the biggest thing, though, that I did with Be Like a Crow is I bought myself a very, very tiny journal. And what this helps me because I write literally one page for each session or whatever I'm doing. So that kept things going. I mean, this one probably continued on. Apparently, Nightshade, that's the name of my crow. But there's a lot in here. I definitely kept this one going and really had a nice time of having my crow just kind of travel around as I wrote all these random things down. And up next, I know what I have to do. I need to create a nest because my crow is starting to grow up and get into the next life stage where they need their own nest. Cool stuff. Solo journaling RPGs in general, though, there are a ton of different themes out there. These were the ones that kind of grabbed me and got me really interested in the genre. And from that point, I have now started, again, just starting, to plan how to get more into solo RPGs in general. It's a very fun experience, very different from playing multiplayer, obviously. You don't have that collaborative storytelling, but you do have a story that can evolve and throw surprises at you and random challenges that you didn't expect to come across. And I'm going way off the path here, but with solo RPGs, I also like to look at those as, am I controlling a single character? Is that like me in the game? Or am I kind of rooting for a group of characters? Either one works. In the solo journaling space, you really just have your own character that you're building up and having those adventures and lots of cool stuff happening. But I am continuing to be really excited just seeing these in front of me, especially this one. This really, really was just something that grabbed me. And again, I don't know if it's that opening paragraph or if it was just everything combined. I found out the other day there's a couple of supplements for this, so guess what's on its way to me now? And yeah, I am excited to keep trying some more of these out. I have no idea if it would be of interest, but I have so many other solo RPGs and journaling RPGs. I might just bring them on here and just show off what's in my collection and what I hope to do someday. Because there's so many possibilities, especially if you want to get into the genre and you want to tell a story. So feel free, if you have any recommendations or cool solo RPGs, solo journaling RPGs, share them in the comments. I will definitely take a look because I'm always on the look for more stuff. But that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you get a chance to play some solo RPGs / journaling games at some point soon. Take care. Bye.